Hi coaches, Happy New Year. Welcome to my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share with your friends. Let them know what's going on here. Love to have you. This is the final video for my series, the Veer, the original RPO. I hope it's been helpful for you guys. I'll have the link for all the other videos in the description. So if it seems like I'm zooming past something, go check that out for more of all the basic stuff. I still plan on putting out a video about once a week. I'm trying to keep that rolling, trying to learn, trying to grow. And I'd love to hear what you guys are interested in hearing about and talking about and interacting about. So if you're still following along, comment and let me know. And love to have you guys let me know what you're interested in learning about, talking about, and we'll go from there. That being said, let's hop right into it. We're talking about the Veer versus a bear defense and a stack defense. And we're going to start with the stack defense first. So again, see all my previous videos for the Veer versus even versus odd defenses, kind of some basics of the Veer, personnel, what we're looking for. Again, those will all be in the description, so check that out if you're interested. But first, so as we talked about, we're looking for what is this defensive end in to run the Veer. We're trying to read two people, and we're trying to block B gap over. So if we call A Veer 6, we're trying to block everyone from this B gap over and read two defenders on this side. So what we're looking for is this defensive end right here in a 5 technique, a 4 technique, or 4-eye, or just basically what technique is he in. And then our guys are going to make a read from that. So if this defensive end starting is in a 5 technique, that's what we're looking for first. Once we see that 5 technique, that's going to then set up the rest of our blocking scheme. So if this is a stack defense, and he is in a 5, the call will be down. Typically down means we're going and taking the mic, but with a stack defense, it's a little different. He's got to kind of dip and rip and get underneath to that stacked linebacker. Okay, we have rules for these guys handling the mic and the nose. And the center and both guards, these 3 have these 2. So typically in a stack defense, the nose has one A gap, the mic has the other. So we're simply going to say that you 3 have those 2, and we work on this, and we have drills where we practice this and just work on sending the mic one way and the nose the other way. So if the nose comes into this gap, usually this mic is coming there, or he may blitz there. If they're just having him read, he may try to scrape across, but usually he's going to have that gap. If the nose comes underneath, usually the mic has this gap in a stack defense. So, again, those 3 have those 2. So let's say just for argument's sake, the nose is coming here. That means this guard is still scooping, trying to get to that inside hip. Center is scooping as well. The guard here is going to cut off the mic. We have tail protection from our tackle. And again, see my other videos for an exact description about this, but he's going to take his 45, or he's going to take a 6x6 step and run, cutting off anyone there, hopefully cutting off that stacked linebacker. Okay, the call is down, and so that means our tight end is going to release, and he's got his Veer release track, 3 steps, open up, block for pitch. Our Z, again, this would be Veer 6, so we're running it to the right side. Z has a mirror block, and we have a slice block from our X. Okay, so we will be reading this tackle, and then the stud outside linebacker. Okay, so that works pretty well for that defense. It gets to be a position that's very difficult because when you play this defense, you have to decide, do you want this man? You have to take the fullback with this tackle. If you try to just play that with your backers, we're going to run for a million yards. So you really have to take this. And now what does this guy do? Is he supposed to take QB or pitch? Typically, he's got to take pitch and feather out. That means you're relying on your free safety to run the alley and get to the quarterback. Now, if this guy is a stud, that might be a good scheme for you. But if he's even, or if our quarterback's better, it's going to be a long night. So it's very difficult. You have to make some decisions with that, and you got to figure that out. So if let's say we run a Veer 5, we run it to the quick side, it's going to be a pretty similar scheme. Draw it up very quickly, and then we'll get to the other. Just erase this. And then we'll get to stack when they're in a 4i. Okay, so if we go versus a 5 technique, if we go A, Veer 5, so now we're blocking it on the left side. Now we're still going to call down. Our tackle's going to get inside and try to cut off that backer. Same rules for these guys. These 3 have these 2. So if we got that, we got here and here. Tail protection, cut off. Now our tight end is also involved in tail protection. Cut off the 5 technique. We have slice here, mirror here. Now we're reading here, and we're reading here. Also an excellent call to run Veer versus a stack on that side. Stack defense is very interesting because it takes away some of the complementary things that we like to do, but we feel like we can run Veer very well against it. And we have 2 other plays that we really like. We like power, and we like another play we call lead option pitch. And I'll have another video about our complementary plays that we think work extremely well versus stack, but it takes away a lot of our other schemes, and so it's definitely kind of an interesting defense for us to play against. We like playing against it. We think we can score a lot of points on it, but it does take away some of our complementary plays by alignment. All right, so let's look at if the defensive end is in a 4i and what our options are for that. And we'll play it to the strong side, we'll play it one way, to the weak side, we'll play it a different way. Okay, so this time I'm going to put the tackle and end in 4i's. So now essentially the tackle's going to have a B gap and the backer's going to have a C gap. Which is typically how most stack teams will play us. Some teams in our league like to work on a stack to play against us. And again, like we said, we don't think it's a real great defense against what we like to run. We think there's too many limitations to it. But so when we have a 4i, and this again applies to without a stack, if we have a 4-3, just an odd structure defense, this is another call that we'll use. And again, see my previous video for that. But we would call strike here. So now our tight end is coming to this onside linebacker, and he's blocking him. Our tackle is opening up, and he's blocking for quarterback. So again, we talked about that with the over block, things like that. He's blocking for QB. So if this man vacates for pitch, immediately he's going to turn up and block whoever is coming to QB. So again, if this man comes to pitch, he's going to kick him out. Or excuse me, to quarterback, he's going to kick him out. If he goes to pitch, he's going to let him go and turn up and get this free safety as who's going to have QB. Same rules here. These 3 have these 2. I'll just make it a little triangle right here. These 3 have these 2. Tail protection from our tackle. Got to step inside that end and get there. We'll sometimes have him cut. So we are reading this tackle. We're reading the stud. Again, you can see how this puts you in a bind defensively, because we're reading this tackle, and he's got to take that fullback. Now this guy doesn't go to pitch or quarterback. What do you want? Either way, you're in big trouble. If he goes to pitch, our tackle's turning up and blocking your free safety, and it's 1-on-none. So we got some. This is a very good scheme for us. Strike. Okay, so because it's an S call again, that's what our tight end is paying attention to. If it's not an S call, he's going to have his normal veer release. So on the other side, we obviously can't run strike versus a 4-eye. If we run it to the weak side because we don't have a tight end. Or, of course, we can, pull 2 tight ends in and go, we call that a tight. We can do that, of course. But if we want to go weak side without a tight end, we have a different scheme for that. So I'll go ahead and draw that up real quick. And we call this one loop. And it's another blocking for the quarterback type of scheme. Make sure we got our 4-eye here. Okay, so for this side, we'll call loop. Now, when we call loop, it changes our rules slightly again. Again, this call is for odd defenses as well. But if we call loop, now this man's going to open up, take one parallel step and block the quarterback. So if these guys stack up and let's say the end is in a 4, the tackle is going to take whoever goes to C gap. So if this backer goes to C gap, he's got him. If this end goes to C gap, he's got to try to drive him out, which makes it a little tougher for us. But we can do that as well. But again, this guy's got to cancel the fullback. If he doesn't cancel the fullback, we are going to run for quite a few yards with that if he does not cancel the fullback. So we call loop. Generally, he's going to take the fullback. We're up here, looping and blocking here. Same thing from our guard. Take one parallel step and attack. He's going to try to cut off the mic. Okay? Again, makes it a little tougher block on our center, but we're going to scoop here. We're going to have help from our guard. We're going to double scoop that. Again, makes it a little tougher, but if you got a center that can do it, if you got a quick guy, which is why we like someone who's quick there, it can be done. Tail protection here. Tail protection here. We're trying to get inside of that tackle and run. And we're going to read the end and the weak safety. All right, so that's our loop scheme. We run that to, versus a stack, we run that away from the tight end. We also can run it to the tight end as well. We simply run loop, and we have a tight end, and he hears L, not an S, and so he runs his veer release. All right, let's talk about a bear defense now. So, and why I have kind of 2 categories of bear defenses. Sometimes when we see, most of the time, I should say, we see a bear defense that is not the true bear defense that teams play with, or that was given by old buddy Ryan way back in the day. Because what they will do is essentially go to their double 3 techniques, again outside shade here, and their nose. And they'll still have their stud, and they'll still have their weak safety here. And they'll go Mike and Will here. They'll still have their 2 linebackers. But what old buddy Ryan did with the 46, he would have Doug Plank, the 46, come down right here and play on that tight end. Head up and just tell him to dominate that tight end. Just beat him up. But most other teams don't do that. Maybe it's because we see so much spread, that kind of thing, that they will either leave too high or they'll insert their safety in another place, but they don't typically bring him right there. They usually kind of roll him down like that, which, as someone who's run the bear defense, Buddy and Rex call it a Jayhawk adjustment, where you just bump this guy back. But anyway, so this is kind of more of the normal bear defense that we see. Okay, so we'll go ahead and draw out the rest of it here. And then I'll show you kind of what we would do versus a true bear defense. And a true bear defense is interesting because I don't think anyone's ever run it against this. But to think about what we would possibly want to do versus that true, where we have that strong safety type. Okay, so we have a call whenever we see a 3 and a 9. So whenever we have a 3 technique and a 9 technique outside shade of this tight end, we're going to run what we call spike. So now this becomes a double team on 3 technique. Our tight end runs down and blocks the mic. Now this strong safety, or not strong safety, the stud has to try to cancel the fullback. That's just not going to work. He can't get there. He really can't get to that fullback running his track right here and cutting off. Now this strong safety is unblocked, yes, but with the strong safety being even with the strong safety being unblocked, this is going to be at least a 5-yard gain for us. And again, if our dude is better than your dude, it's going to be a long night. So that we really like strong side veer, and we like spike versus this kind of bear defense. If we wanted to run a weak side, we could still run down without a tight end. Again, our tight end, paying attention, that's a spike. It's a S call, so he is involved in that. But if we ran weak side, which we don't like quite as much, we like spike a little bit more, we run down, double team here, to backside, scoop, and scoop. Our guard giving a rip call to the tackle, saying this guy's got to get underneath the tackle, and he's got to get going, and they've got a scoop right there. Okay. Oh, let me put out the rest of spike as well. It's all very basic tail protection, but just so we've got that all taken care of. So that's down, of course, and we'd have tail protection from our tight end as well. But if we have spike, we're here, double team, scoop, tail protection, again, another rip call right there. And we would be reading this guy and this guy. But it's just going to be reading that. We're not going to, versus a 3 and a 9, it's going to be a give. There's not going to be a pull in that instance. Too hard to get to the fullback from a 9 technique. Okay, so let's look at real quick what that true bear defense, how we would potentially attack that with the veer. There's obviously, you can try some weak side stuff. We can try, but it's going to be harder to do spike. We got the strong safety right there, and this is their bear look. Get this Y. Okay, so this is interesting. I think we would probably try to run down and make this guy our read, because this guy is going to go and read this guy as well. This guy essentially has to go to pitch. There's really no one else out there. It's good. It would be tough to send him to QB and him there. So we probably run down here, try to get up there, scoop here, rip call here, running our track, reading here. We've got our veer release, blocking for pitch, which is likely going to be this guy, mirror, slice, we're off and rolling. Okay? And we also we'd probably do the same blocking scheme on the backside. But it would be interesting. I've never seen a true bear defense. That would be very interesting to see. Love to go against it sometime. All right, well, this concludes our video. Again, thanks for staying with me for the series. Love for you guys to check out any of the videos in the links below if you haven't seen them before. And also, give me a comment. Let me know what you'd be interested in talking about. And I'll have some more videos soon. Thanks. Thanks for watching.